I might have fallen for it for the third time. George R.R. Martin, a guy who has, you know, a big brain, and that has led to a couple adaptations of his works, such as Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. There's this third one that came out, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. So I watched episode 5 yesterday, and this is the greatest thing of all time. This is as if you gave a human diamond armor in real life. It's very different compared to Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon. It doesn't really take itself seriously. In a way, I guess in a world filled with dragons and magic, it is very nice to not have any crazy fucking shit happening. See, I have this problem. I don't trust any of these people. I don't trust George R.R. Martin. I don't trust HBO. I don't trust whoever the fucking writers are. For some odd reason, George R.R. Martin's adaptations have stupid shit happen to them. Like Game of Thrones, for example. At one point, probably like the biggest show. That was probably the first show I ever experienced. The show falls off and it ends very, very terribly. At the time, I didn't know this was like possible in like media or like entertainment or whatever you want to like call it. I did not know TV shows could fall off that badly. There are like some other shows that have like fallen off and like ended terribly, but not to that extent. Like for example, Dexter. I think I was watching Dexter around that time, but I wasn't very like close to like finishing it, but I knew it like ended badly. And like after reaching the end or whatever, I was like, that's not that bad. Like, it's pretty bad the first time it ended, but it isn't as bad as Game of Thrones and how that ended. But I mean, Dexter did have a chance at redeeming that ending, and then they fucked that up, and then they brought him back for the third time. Game of Thrones had its entire own shit show because George R.R. Martin and like the two main people running that bitch, D&D, David and Dan. To sum up, Game of Thrones, they were running the fucking world like it was nothing. North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Australia, Antarctica, everybody knew what Game of Thrones was. Everybody was hyped up. Every single episode, there was this hype. Do that! Once the episode dropped, boom, bitch, that's all you're gonna hear about the entire week. And then boom, bitch, the other fucking week. Boom, boom, bitch, you get the idea. And then Game of Thrones reached the point where the brick wall came up. And that brick wall was George R.R. Martin just sleeping, or I don't know what he does really. It's 2026, he still hasn't finished the books. I could have made this like 10 years ago and he still wouldn't have finished the books. Probably did attempt to like help them, but I don't know to like what extent he did. But I know they did cut him out. Did cut him out of creative decisions. George R.R. Martin just cannot pick good people to adapt his shit. D&D talked about it, the entire thing about what happened with Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones kind of fell apart because George R.R. Martin is very capable of finishing the books that he has written. The first book, Game of Thrones, released in 1996, the second book in 1999, the third book 2000, the fourth book 2005, and then the fifth book took until 2011. And it is now 2026. That sixth book is still not here. I don't think it's ever coming out. There was this one thing that he said, I can remember it off the top of my head. It's some sort of like writer's block, where at some points like he feels he wants to do it and some points he just doesn't want to do it. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't read the books, and they are very different compared to like what happened on the show. I don't know how you're supposed to keep track of like the plots, especially if it has like supernatural and like magic shit going on. But congrats guys, you guys are free from any criticism. No. I understand they ran out of source material, but they still were like pulling off some of the dumbest shit ever. I'm spoiling it, I don't care. It's been like what, 2019. Basically, the way they had Mrs. Targaryen, Dany, going crazy, they did it in like the worst way possible. They were making her go crazy on the dumbest fucking ways possible. You mean to tell me the bells was the final thing to make her go crazy? The way the dragons were dying or whatever, it's like, man, you should just had the dragons die on King's Landing at that point. You couldn't actually see what was happening during like some battles, but you know, get a better TV, you bum. House of the Dragon, I only watched the first season and I thought it was pretty good. And I was keeping track of like production on like season 2. And I think the writer strike happened during that. I do not think it got affected by that. Thank God I didn't watch it because I think I would have been pissed. Season 1 was just building on the Targaryen Civil War. What? I don't know the main guy's name. I'm so sorry. Basically, the king dies. He says one thing, leaving the next person on to the throne. Some other person wants another person on the throne. And then it causes an entire civil war, yada, yada, yada. Dragons killing each other, people killing each other, yada yada. That's basically what it was. But season 1 was building towards full-on conflict between the one grand family. Season 2, I guess, was expected to have those battles, and I think there was supposed to be a battle that was happening in season 2, but then they said fuck that and put it on season 3. It ended up with season 2 just being just a yapathon, just more talking. I haven't watched it, so thank God. Am I bad that I haven't watched it? So because I kind of just have no idea what I'm talking about. What happened? Like, I'm actually gonna have to watch it now that I'm talking about it to understand it, because how much yapping do you have to do to piss off an entire fan base?
There is no passion, there is no vision, there is no aggression, there is no fucking mindset.
Especially if there's no payoff. If you're gonna have yapping, you gotta have at least one slight payoff. And then they were also cutting people from the show. George R.R. Martin started to have beef with the guy running the bitch, Ryan Condell, I don't know. To just sum it up, I'll just do it with this. Dude, they really are just mistreating this dude. R.R. Martin said, I hired Ryan. I thought Ryan and I were partners, and we were all through the first season of House of the Dragon. I would read early drafts of the scripts, I would give notes, he would change some things. It was really working well, I thought. Sounds like it was the same shit with D&D. He would give them notes and yada yada yada. It would work at the moment. And then the switch happened. He basically stopped listening to me. I would give notes and nothing would happen. He kind of figured out himself that, yeah, this isn't my story no more. And they stopped mentally abusing this old man. Yes, he might be a perfectionist and he might have a writer's block problem, but holy shit, how many times can a guy get like fucked over this much on his own work? I feel bad to a certain degree, because it's also like, you also haven't finished the books at all. Like, you're just bullshitting at this point. You're working on other shit.
Hey, yo, my life's like a movie, my eyes are like a Uzi, jacuzzi. Get the fuck out of the way.
He also talked about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and he's saying it's going great, everything's going great. And then the showrunner said some crazy shit, which is like the main reason why I made this video. Said something like, oh, we're gonna take like 10 years to make this show. We're gonna have the actors age up and shit. And it's like, don't do this stupid shit. Why do people just start saying some of the dumbest stuff when George R.R. Martin is involved? Just clean and simple. Actually, the books that A Night of the Seven Kingdoms are based around, they're like very short. He's not even done with that too. So I don't know what the fuck is. This dude's just bullshit, man. But I fell for it for a third time. All little short stories. They're cool. They're like 30 minutes. People complain about that. He got me again. I'm watching one of his shows, and it's probably gonna end in like absolute tragedy again, because that's how it usually does. I figured out shit. I'm not falling into this loop. I'm not falling into a lot of loops anymore. I'm done. I'm over it. You could drop a like, comment, or subscribe if you want. It doesn't, it actually kind of does matter. Please.